Hey, how's it going, everybody? This is MegaShadowFist, and welcome back to Ace Attorney Dual Destinies. And when we last left off, we were about to cross-examine, Mr. Yuri Cosmos again. Why, though? Because that's how it is. This is what he really saw, I believe. So let's go ahead and go to continue. Go from slot 1, it looks like. Hit load this data, yes, please. Hit load this data, yes, please. Hit load this data. What am I doing right now? Anyway, let's go ahead and cross-examine him. So let's go ahead and continue. Detective Arm and I rushed to the control room together. We've already heard all about that part. Don't you have any new information? Well, let me see. If you have an hour or two, I could tell you all about the Hat One Miracle. We already know about that too. Tell us about something related to this incident. I see. You want to know about incidents? Well then, let me tell you about the many incidents that made me the man I am today. Yes, if you have the time, I will tell you all about the upbringing of this great man. You told us all about that as well. You told us all about that already as well. What we need now is your testimony. Did I really already tell you all that about my upbringing? I don't recall doing so. Director Cosmos, perhaps you could save your boastful tales for later. If I must. Well, we peeked in through the control room door and... I feel like his voice is different today. That's always how it is the beginning of a recording session, I believe. In the lounge, we saw a figure standing in the middle of the room and tearing on the floor. I did put Do Not Disturb on, right, just in case? I believe I did. Hopefully I did. We'll know soon enough. But it was so dark you couldn't see this figure's face, isn't that right? Yes, the room was as deep and dark as outer space itself. Speaking of outer space, during the Hat 1 launch 7 years ago. If it's about that Hat 1 miracle again, you can soul off and tell it to a stray mutt. Excellent idea. No reason why the animal world shouldn't hear of my greatness. And so they shall, but this, your testimony, will happen next. We were still in the control room to the east when the figure fired at us. So in other words, you were fired at while you were at the control room door. That is correct. There's something not quite right about that. Director Cosmos, the bullet this person fired hit you, isn't that right? Yes, it was a miracle befitting a great history-making figure such as myself. The bullet figure fired hit me while I was in the control room. But as the Cosmos would have it, the bullet bounced off my glorious Medal of Honor. In that case, the bullet should have wound up somewhere around the control room door. Okay, so Director Cosmos was in the control room to the east. And while he was there, he was shot at by someone with a 10 caliber gun. But the bullet hit his medal, so he was able to escape with his life. He's a very lucky man. No wonder people think he's great. Hey, I'm pretty lucky myself, so if he's a great man, then I'm the king of all the cosmos. Not quite, buddy. That's not how it works. Okay, let's go to the far end. So, do we present the bullet again? I guess so. It was discovered in the gutter that runs along the south wall. I'm gonna just present this again. Director Cosmos, I believe you are telling this great court a glorious lie. A great man like me tell a lie? Have you ever heard of such a thing in all this history? In all of history. My accusation is based on the positions of the people who were in the lounge. According to your testimony, you and Detective Arm were near the control room door, and the mystery figure was standing in the middle of the boarding lounge. If, as you say, the figure fired a gun at you from this position, then the bullet would have traveled in this direction. However, we found the 10 caliber bullet here. Oh! This trajectory and where the bullet was actually found contradict each other. Director Cosmos, where were you really when you were being shot at? Gah! Ladies and gentlemen, I present to you the human merry-go-round. Objection! Don't tell me you've forgotten already. Didn't the witness himself just tell you? The bullet hit his metal. Of this, there's no mistake.
Objection!
But in that case, the bullet should have been found near the east side of the room. Are you trying to say that you can explain this inconsistency? Of course he can. Of course. I didn't think so. What? Oh, great Director Cosmos. Yes? Is there something you'd like me to expound upon? You were in fact... Wrong voice. You were in fact not in the control room to the east, were you? You were looking into the lounge from the door to the south, is that not right? Gah! What are you getting at? Use your own brain. Your head must have some of these than housing that bird's nest. Bird's nest? Why does everyone pick on my hair? He's like Joel from JoJo. I actually made a JoJo reference. I believe, didn't I make a JoJo? Yeah, I made a JoJo reference in one of the awkward pause text screens with Solomon Buck's hairdo, where I quoted him whatchamacallit in Ace Attorney, not Ace Attorney. All-Star JoJo Bizarre Adventure All-Star Battles. Anyway, Director Cosmos and the detective witnessed the scene from the southern door. The killer fired at them there, and that is why the bullet was found in the south. That makes sense, actually. Also, the witness being at the southern door is rather favorable for the prosecution. Huh? I've got a bad feeling about this. How about it, Director? If you don't tell the truth this time... Oh, you broke... What? Okay, that was... Yikes, handcuffs! That was so anticlimactic. You become but the rust will burn my sword. I have a chance to cut down a great man. Alright, I'll tell the truth. Just put your sword away. You are correct. I, the great Yuri Cosmos, was looking into the room for the southern door. What?! That's the complete opposite of all the testimonies giving so far. And now you've lost your possibility that a third person was in the room. I have? How? The director and the detective were near the southern door. Meaning the killer couldn't have escaped through there. The western door required print recognition. The corridor beyond was filled with smoke. The only escape route left was the eastern control room door. And the only way to get through there was with Director Cosmos' fingerprints. In short, there would be no escape for any third person had there been one. Ah! My third person just disappeared. Like one of Trucy's magic tricks. Order! Order in the court! Director Cosmos, why'd you tell such an outrageous lie? You were covering for the defendant. Isn't that right? Yes, it was all for the love of my men. If I said I was in the eastern control room, it would mean the culprit could have escaped through the southern door. It would have meant that there could have been a third person. All I wanted to do is protect Starbuck. I said I was in the control room to invent an escape route for a third person. What a convoluted lie. Was he really covering for the defendant? It looks like we've come to a conclusion. That the defense's argument, the possibility of a third person, has crumbled. No! It's over. Yikes. The judge is about to hand down his verdict. Think, Phoenix, think. This is the perfect time to try and turn my thinking around. If a third person had no way of escaping the scene, then what if one of the people at the scene was this third person? Wait, what if the whole premise is all wrong? Director Cosmos said that he and Detective Harm rushed this scene together. But what if that premise isn't true? What if one of them reached the scene before the other one? And if that person entered the lounge, then they would be the third person. The defendant is the only one who could have killed the victim and shot at the director. There doesn't appear to be any room for argument against these claims. I will now render my verdict.
Objection!
Please wait, Your Honor. There is still one possibility. Is there, Phoenix? Oh, this had better be good, Mr. Wright. There is one and only one person who could have escaped from the scene, and that person would be the first person to arrive in the scene. Then, upon entering the boarding lounge, the second person to arrive came via the southern door. That's why the first person fled from the room, using one escape room that was accessible only to them. Very well, let's hear more about this theory. Who is this one person who could have escaped from the boarding lounge? Well, you're trying to say that he escaped through the hand whatever, right? Like the hand scanner thing, right? And that person entered the lounge. Like, the hand scanner is only accessible to, like... Oh, I mean, like, this is obvious. You have a 50-50 chance here, and it's not her, right? So it has to be him, right? Let's just use some common sense here, right? What? But that's... Mr. Wright, what are you claiming here? Of all the people who were at the scene, only the witness could have escaped. The director is the only one with the authority to open the control room door, after all. But that means... Exactly. The true identity of the third person is our current witness, Director Yuri Cosmos. Grrrr! What? What? Order! Order in the court, I say! Mr. Wright, you'll explain yourself in more detail. I assert that Director Cosmos arrived at the scene before Detective Arm, and entered the boarding lounge alone. Detective Arm arrived after that end. Saw a suspicious figure who was actually Director Cosmos standing in the lounge. And that's why she fired those 2 warning shots. Grrrr! I've been hit! I've been hit on the starboard side! Captain Wright! It's a direct hit on the enemy ship, sir! A magnificent shot! Warning shots fired from the enemy ship! Prepare to intercept! Why does he have a 1990 style cell phone? Hey, like, you might want to upgrade there. Cosmos, you have told a lie in this court once again. I've been hit! I've been hit on the port side! The enemy has called in reinforcements! We're at the Cosmos Control Center, requesting permission to ask you to return to reality. Ground control to Major Tom. But my ship will not go down to anything less than ultimate weapon of evidence. Objection! But I do have evidence. In fact, you could say that your battleship bears its scar. If Director Cosmos is the third person Aurora Blackwell saw, this third person fired at Detective Arm and Director Cosmos with their gun. And in return, the detective fired her warning shots. Isn't that how it really went down, Director Cosmos? Ha 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 ha! It looks like you've deduced my miraculous tale of survival. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mystery person fired upon us. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. Once we compare it against another piece of evidence, the mark that you received from the third party will be all the proof that we need to prove that you were the one there in the lounge. Brace for further impact. Comparison against this piece of evidence will prove that you were the one in the lounge. Okay, so what are you trying to prove here? Okay, so must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence on the director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. He turned around and shot at her, is what you're trying... Okay, so... Let's go backwards. The bullet found near the victim's oxygen tank was fired from a 38 caliber handgun. The perp held a lighter with an Earth emblem on it on their left hand and a knife in their right. A lighter with an Earth emblem on it. Found the victim's possession. Recently returned from 7-year mission. Asteroids, the only bullet hole found in the boarding lounge. It was made by a bullet fired from a .38 caliber gun. Oh, to the east can only be operated backward. Backup power lets it function even when the power goes out. And a gutter that runs along the south wall of the boarding lounge was fired from a 10 caliber handgun. A full size. I don't know. The victim's oxygen tank was struck by a bullet. Yeah, we don't really need that right now, I don't think. Only makes sense that he would turn around. Only the Prince of Director Cosmos, Starbuck, and Terran are authorized, equipped with backup power. Prince recognition attempts are recorded via security camera. Starbuck's prints were found in the scanner screen after incident. The victim's blood on it from a set of utility tools used by Space Center techs. Okay, well, it's gotta be one of these, I guess. I mean, obviously, it has to be one of these. Okay, so let's look at this one more time. If Director Cosmos is the third person Aura Blackwell saw, this third person fired Detective Arm and Director with their gun, and in return, the detective fired her warning shots. How it really went down, Director Cosmos. Yes, you're absolutely correct. The mysterious person fired upon us must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. When Detective Arm discovered him in the lounge, it only makes sense that he would have turned and shot at her. Therefore, the evidence of the Director's body is of a different kind of relevance than before. We're from the third party. This can't be right? Like, this can't be right? I'm confused. Like, what are we trying to prove here? Like, how is it, like, okay, so he had to have turned around. I'm just gonna try it, even though this is clearly incorrect. And what would you like to say about that piece of evidence, Mr. Wright? Huh? Oh, I would like to say that this is not it. Mr. Wright, please only present evidence that you think is it. I guess that really wasn't it. But I am sure that the third person is Director Cosmos. But you were the one in the lounge. I don't know. Okay. This has to be really obvious and I'm overthinking it. The third person had to have been him. And I checked all the electrical. Let's look at the log again. I feel dumb. Director Cosmos must have been the one who fired the 10 caliber gun. Covered him in the lounge. It only makes sense that he would have turned in and shot at her. But I do have evidence, in fact. You can say that your battleship bears its scar. But what bears its scar? Discovering a gutter that runs along the south wall. It was fired from a 10 caliber handgun. What? The only bullet hole found in the boarding lounge was made by a bullet fired from a... What? How does this... He was the one that shot the tin thing, right? There was this. Found in the victim's oxygen tank. It was fired from a .38 caliber handgun. This is a scar-ish. Do they want this? Is this incorrect? Yes, this is incorrect. Like, like, it's not really like a scar, right? I was like, I'm dumb. Clearly. Anyway, awkward pause. We'll see you guys in the next episode. I suppose I'll figure this off screen.